What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Dell. They do have their earnings coming up. I want to go over some expectations, support and resistance points, everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So at the time of doing this video, it is sitting at $115.65. Over the last 1 year, up 24.66. Then over the last 1 month, up 8.57. This is what they do in case you are curious, so feel free to pause it and read through it. But their earnings is slated for the 27th after hours. $2.52 for the earnings per share is the estimate. 24.57 billion for revenue. And then over the last 90 days, you see 2 positive and 18 negative revisions to the earnings per share. A little bit more deeper dive. So that 252 does work out to be 14.46% year-over-year growth. 244 the low, 260 the high, based on 19 analysts. Moving over to the revenue. 24.57 billion for that. That works out to be 10.09% year-over-year growth. 24.2 billion for the low end, 24.83 the high. That is based on 17 analysts. Over and above that, though, future guidance. So there was some rumors of some discussions of selling some servers. So that demand, supply chain, because I believe Bank of America, there's been some downgrades and which supply chain is cited. So just future guidance. That's going to be what the market is really looking at in Dell's case. But currently going into the earnings, though, you have an implied move of 8.38%. So currently roughly around a 10% move ultimately in either direction. Historically speaking, there's a good likelihood of roughly around a 50% likelihood of them beating. That's under this column right here. So that does show the 1 day move post earnings. So when they do miss, it is on average, I'd say around 10 to 12%. When they do beat, similarly, it seems to be roughly around that 10 to 15%. So anticipate a lot of volatility, even though the implied move is only 8.38. Usually is a little bit more volatile than that. So again, factor that in. You could potentially see polar opposites based on the options that have been happening. Bulls are anticipating for it to be roughly around that 125, and so kind of within the parameters of the right here. So what I mentioned about that 10% move in either direction. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub. It looks as though pretty much for the most part, there's not really much activity going on from the bears. Roughly around $99 to 105 for the most part. So they're a little bit more extreme. So I think in some cases, maybe they were hedging also on Nvidia, really missing their earnings. That didn't necessarily happen. So in reality, something just to keep in mind. As far as shorts, so I like to bring this up as a benchmark, not because Dell is a squeeze play, but just to kind of analyze. So 4.69% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 13.68 million shares. On Wednesday, shorts did increase 403,000 shares. And generally, if we kind of analyze this, it does show shorts have been returning leading into their earnings. So whenever shorts lead or kind of do some action such as this into an event, kind of signals that they feel like it is going to be a beat. Just once again, analyzing this information and just historical data. So let me know your viewpoint on that. With it at 115 and change, it is trading between these 2 points. So this R1 and the pivot. So 109.80 is going to be a strong support, followed by 99.97. Flip side, 119, and then 125 is going to be the next strong target / resistance point. So let me know your thoughts. Do you own Bell? Do you sell? And as well, when it comes down to, let's say, their price target, where do you see things going post earnings? Are you bullish, bearish? What's your general thoughts? One final thing, pop over to my Discord. It is completely free. A lot of good people, a lot of good chats talking about stocks, options, and crypto. So if you're curious on what options to do, you can always bounce it off of a lot of smart individuals there. So link to that is in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.